Respect is not something you beg for. It is something you command through your presence, your actions, and the way you carry yourself. When people look down on you, it can either break you or it can fuel you to rise even higher. The choice is always yours. If you want to command respect from those who underestimate you, you don't do it by lowering yourself to their level. You do it by elevating yourself so high that they can no longer ignore you. Confidence is one of the most powerful forces you can carry with you. It is not about arrogance or pretending to know everything, but about having an unshakable belief in your worth, your ability, and your right to take up space in this world. When people look down on you, it is often because they sense hesitation, insecurity, or a lack of self-assurance. They pick up on the subtle signals you give, your posture, your tone, your eye contact, even the way you walk into a room. And here's the truth: before you even say a single word, people have already formed an impression of you. That impression, whether strong or weak, sets the tone for how they treat you. This is why confidence speaks louder than words. You can say all the right things, but if you say them timidly, they lose their power. On the other hand, even simple words carry weight when they come from someone who speaks with certainty. Think of the leaders, teachers, or mentors who influenced you. More than their knowledge, it was their conviction that drew you in. They spoke as if they believed in every word, and that belief was contagious. The key to commanding respect lies in showing the world that you respect yourself first. When you stand tall, look people in the eyes, and speak without shrinking back, you silently communicate, "I know my value." That message cuts deeper than any argument because respect is not begged for. It is commanded by presence. Confidence creates an aura that makes people rethink their assumptions about you. Even those who once looked down on you begin to question whether they misjudged you, simply because you no longer carry yourself like someone seeking approval. But here's an important point: confidence is not about faking it until you make it. It's about practicing it until you embody it. It's built through action, through preparation, and through repeatedly proving to yourself that you are capable. Every time you accomplish something, no matter how small, you're making a deposit into your confidence bank. Over time, those deposits accumulate, and when you walk into situations where others doubt you, you can draw from that reservoir of self-belief. Confidence also comes from embracing failure. People often think confidence means never doubting, never stumbling, never messing up. That's not true. Real confidence is the ability to say, even if I fail, I can handle it. Even if I fall, I will rise again. When you stop fearing mistakes, you stop shrinking. And when you stop shrinking, others stop towering over you. They begin to see you as someone who stands firm regardless of the outcome, and that is deeply respected. Another way confidence speaks louder than words is through body language. Before you utter a sentence, your posture tells a story. Slouched shoulders say, "I don't believe in myself." Firm, open stance says, "I belong here." Avoiding eye contact whispers insecurity. Looking people directly in the eyes signals assurance. The smallest adjustments in the way you carry yourself can shift the way people perceive you. That's why commanding respect starts not with changing others, but with changing how you show up. Finally, remember this: confidence is not about being the loudest person in the room. Some of the most respected people are not those who talk the most, but those who talk with purpose. Confidence is quiet power. It doesn't scream for attention, it naturally draws it. When you own your voice, your choices, and your space, you send an unspoken message that demands respect without ever needing to ask for it. So, when people look down on you, don't try to convince them with explanations. Don't try to argue your worth. Instead, embody it. Stand tall, speak with conviction, act with certainty. Let your confidence be the loudest voice in the room, because it will say more than words ever could. Boundaries are the invisible lines that separate what you allow from what you refuse to accept. They are not walls that keep people away. They are doors that teach people how to approach you. When people look down on you, it is often because they believe you will tolerate it. They sense that you won't push back, that you'll let the disrespect slide, and that's why they continue. But the moment you establish clear boundaries, the dynamic shifts. Boundaries teach others the rules of engagement, and when you enforce them, you show strength that cannot be ignored. Think about it this way: every time someone disrespects you, and you let it go without saying a word, you silently teach them that it's acceptable. You may think you're keeping the peace, but in reality, you're giving them permission to treat you that way again. Respect doesn't come from being endlessly patient with mistreatment. It comes from making it clear that disrespect has consequences. A firm but calm, "I don't allow people to speak to me that way," does more for your dignity than hours of trying to prove your worth to someone who has already dismissed you. Boundaries are not about being rude or confrontational. They are about clarity. They tell people, "This is how I expect to be treated." They set the standard. And people respect standards even if they don't like them. When someone realizes you won't laugh at their demeaning jokes, when they notice you don't entertain gossip meant to belittle you, when they see you walk away from conversations that cross the line, they begin to treat you differently. They may resist at first, but deep down, they understand they can no longer take liberties with your self-respect. It's important to understand that boundaries are not just spoken, they're lived. If you say you don't tolerate disrespect but continue to engage with people who repeatedly demean you, your words lose power. Boundaries are only effective when you enforce them consistently. That may mean distancing yourself from certain people, saying no when it's uncomfortable, or removing yourself from situations that compromise your values. Each time you do this, you reinforce the message, "I respect myself enough not to allow this." Many people fear setting boundaries because they worry about losing relationships. But here's the truth. If someone only stays in your life because you allow them to disrespect you, that's not a relationship worth keeping. Real respect does not require you to sacrifice your dignity. In fact, the people who truly value you will respect you more when you draw the line. Boundaries do not push the right people away, they filter out the wrong ones. Boundaries also protect your energy. Disrespect and mistreatment drain your spirit, making you feel small and powerless. When you set limits, you reclaim control over your space, your time, and your peace of mind. You no longer spend energy managing other people's bad behavior. You simply don't allow it near you. That kind of self-respect radiates outward, and others pick up on it instantly. The beauty of boundaries is that they command respect without the need for arguments. You don't have to defend yourself endlessly or explain why you deserve to be treated well. The boundary itself does the talking. It silently communicates, "This is who I am, and this is what I will not accept." Over time, people learn to adjust how they treat you, or they remove themselves entirely, and either outcome works in your favor. So, the next time someone looks down on you, don't waste time trying to change their opinion. Instead, change what you allow, draw the line. Speak up when needed, walk away when necessary. Boundaries may feel uncomfortable at first, but they are the strongest declaration of self-respect you can make. And when you respect yourself enough to enforce them, others will have no choice but to follow your lead. When people look down on you, they often base their judgment on perception, assumptions, or stereotypes. They might dismiss you because of how you look, where you come from, or because they think you lack the ability to succeed. You could spend hours trying to argue with them, explaining why they're wrong, but words rarely change hardened minds. What truly changes their perspective is undeniable evidence, and that evidence comes in the form of results. Results silence doubt in a way nothing else can. When you achieve, when you deliver, when you consistently produce excellence, those who once underestimated you have no choice but to notice. Results don't ask for permission. They demand acknowledgement. They speak louder than your explanations, louder than your defenses, and louder than your critics. People can ignore your words, but they cannot ignore your success. Think about it. If someone tells you that you can't accomplish something, and you respond with anger, you feed their doubt. But if you respond with results, you take away their argument entirely. You don't even need to say, "I told you so." The work itself becomes your voice. Your actions become the proof that their judgment was flawed from the beginning. This principle applies in every area of life. In your career, maybe people overlook you or assume you're not capable of leading. Instead of begging for recognition, prove them wrong by being so good at what you do that they cannot deny your impact. In relationships, maybe someone doesn't value your voice. Instead of pleading for respect, show them through your growth, your confidence, and your discipline that you cannot be dismissed. Excellence has a way of shifting the balance of power. The most powerful thing about results is that they don't just silence external doubt, they also silence internal doubt. When you achieve something you once thought impossible, You prove to yourself that you are stronger, smarter, and more capable than you realized. That inner confidence radiates outward, and people can feel it. They begin to treat you differently because you carry yourself differently. Now, results don't happen overnight. They require consistency, focus, and discipline. And this is where many people give up. They want immediate respect without putting in the time to build credibility. But respect that comes from results is not cheap. It is earned. Every small victory you stack builds momentum, and over time, those victories accumulate into undeniable proof of your value. The same people who once doubted you may end up seeking your advice because success changes the way people see you. It's also important to note that results don't have to be flashy or dramatic. Sometimes the most powerful results are quiet and steady. Consistently showing up on time, delivering quality work, staying disciplined in your habits. These results build trust and credibility over time. People may not applaud every small win, but eventually, the consistency speaks for itself. When others realize that you are reliable, capable, and unshakable, they begin to respect you in ways they never did before. Results are also a form of protection. People who want to look down on you often rely on narratives, stories they tell themselves about why you're not good enough. But when your results contradict that narrative, they are left powerless. It becomes harder and harder for them to justify their disrespect. The facts stand in front of them, undeniable and unshakable. So if you feel underestimated, stop wasting energy trying to convince others with words. Channel that energy into building results. Learn more, grow more, achieve more. Focus on becoming so effective, so skilled, and so disciplined that your very existence is proof of your worth. Let your work, your growth, and your achievements do the talking for you. Because in the end, respect doesn't come from arguments, it comes from evidence. And nothing is more powerful than when your results stand tall in front of those who once looked down on you, leaving them in silence with nothing left to say. When someone looks down on you, one of the first things they often try to do is provoke you. They may belittle you, criticize you unfairly, or throw subtle jabs, hoping to make you lose your cool. Why? Because anger and frustration strip you of power. The moment you react emotionally to their disrespect, they feel in control. They think they've confirmed their assumption that you are weak, unstable, or easy to manipulate. But when you remain calm, collected, and composed under fire, you flip the script. You demonstrate a level of strength that is impossible to ignore. Composure is not about ignoring mistreatment or pretending that words don't hurt. It is about refusing to give your power away. Every time you lash out in anger, every time you allow someone's negativity to dictate your behavior, you hand them control over you. But when you maintain composure, you silently declare, "You do not control me, I control me." That unshakable calm commands respect far more than a heated response ever could. Think of the most respected leaders, negotiators, or role models. What sets them apart is not that they never face criticism or disrespect, it's that they don't crumble under it. They hold themselves with dignity even when the world tries to drag them down. Their calmness under pressure makes others trust them, admire them, and follow them. The same principle applies to your life. When people see that they cannot rattle you, they begin to view you differently. They may still try, but deep down, they recognize your strength. Composure also gives you clarity. When you are calm, you can think strategically instead of emotionally. Instead of reacting to disrespect in ways that escalate the situation, you respond in ways that protect your dignity and peace. You choose your words carefully, or sometimes you choose silence, and silence itself can be a powerful response. There is nothing more unsettling to someone trying to provoke you than realizing they cannot get a reaction out of you. This doesn't mean you never speak up. It means that when you do, your words carry more weight because they come from a place of control, not chaos. A calm, firm statement like, "I don't allow myself to be spoken to in that way," hits much harder than shouting back in anger. Why? Because it shows you are in command of yourself, and people respect those who are in command of themselves. Another thing about composure, it makes you unpredictable. People who look down on you often expect you to break, to fight back in a way that proves them right. But when you refuse to play their game, you disrupt their expectations. They don't know what to do with someone who won't be dragged into the mud. Over time, this unsettles them, and many stop trying altogether. Your calmness becomes your shield. Of course, composure is not always easy. It requires self-discipline, patience, and emotional maturity. It requires practicing restraint when every part of you wants to react. But here's the truth: composure grows stronger the more you exercise it. Each time you hold your ground instead of snapping, you train yourself to rise above rather than sink below. And with each victory, your respect grows, not just in the eyes of others, but in your own eyes as well. At its core, composure is dignity in action. It is the ability to say, I may not control what others do or say, but I will always control how I respond. That is real power. That is strength. And that is what turns disrespect into respect. So the next time someone tries to look down on you, don't hand them your power by reacting wildly. Instead, stay calm, breathe deeply, and hold your composure. Let your silence, your self-control, and your steady presence speak for you. Because in the end, composure under fire is not weakness. It is proof of strength, and strength commands respect even from those who once doubted you. Every relationship you have in life, whether personal, professional, or social, reflects one unshakable truth: people treat you based on the standard you set for yourself. If you show that you value yourself, others will follow your lead. If you show that you accept disrespect, others will take advantage of it. This is why self-respect is the foundation of commanding respect from others. It sets the tone, the boundary, and the expectation without you even needing to explain it. Self-respect begins with the way you see yourself. If you walk through life believing you are unworthy, undeserving, or less valuable than others, that energy shows. It seeps into your posture, your words, your choices, and the way you carry yourself, and people pick up on it immediately. But when you see yourself as worthy, when you know in your heart that your time, your voice, and your presence matter, you automatically project an authority that demands respect. This doesn't mean you see yourself as better than anyone else. Self-respect is not arrogance. It's not about superiority. It's about equality. It's about recognizing that you have as much right as anyone else to stand tall, to speak up, and to be treated with dignity. It's about honoring your own worth so that others have no choice but to do the same. One of the most powerful ways self-respect sets the standard is through the choices you make. The things you allow, the people you surround yourself with, the opportunities you pursue, all reflect how much you value yourself. For example, if you continuously accept toxic relationships, you send a message to the world that mistreatment is acceptable in your life. But if you walk away from disrespect, even when it hurts, you declare, I deserve better. That declaration commands respect without you needing to say a word. Self-respect also shows in how you use your time. People with self-respect don't waste their energy chasing people who don't value them, engaging in gossip, or entertaining things that drain them. They invest their time in growth, in meaningful connections, and in building a life they're proud of. When others see that you value your time, they begin to value it too. They stop assuming you're available for their negativity because your actions make it clear your time is precious. Another aspect of self-respect is accountability. When you hold yourself to high standards, others naturally hold you to high regard. If you say you're going to do something and you follow through consistently, you prove that your word means something. That reliability makes others respect you because they know you take yourself seriously. On the flip side, if you constantly break promises to yourself and to others, you show that your word carries little weight, and that erodes respect. Perhaps the most overlooked part of self-respect is how you treat yourself privately. Do you speak kindly to yourself, or do you constantly tear yourself down with negative self-talk? Do you take care of your health, your goals, and your growth, or do you neglect yourself while pouring into others? The truth is, the way you treat yourself when no one is watching sets the foundation for how others will treat you when they are. If you can't respect yourself in private, it will be difficult to command respect in public. Here's the bottom line: self-respect sets the tone for every interaction you have. If you live with dignity, treat yourself with care, and refuse to settle for less than you deserve, people quickly learn that they must step up to meet your standard, or step aside. You won't need to beg, argue, or demand respect. It will naturally flow to you because people mirror what you project. So if you want others to respect you, start by respecting yourself. Speak with conviction, protect your time, keep your word, walk away from what diminishes you, live by standards that reflect your worth. Because once you set the standard through self-respect, you'll find that the world adjusts accordingly, and those who once looked down on you will have no choice but to look at you differently. So when people look down on you, the natural temptation is to fight back on their level, to argue, to prove yourself, to show them you're not what they think. But here's the problem: the moment you step into their game, you've already lost. You've given them control over your energy and lowered yourself to a space where respect cannot be earned. True power, true dignity, and true respect come when you rise above instead of sinking below. Rising above does not mean ignoring everything or letting people walk all over you. It means choosing your battles wisely. It means refusing to waste time on meaningless conflicts with people who thrive on negativity. It means recognizing that your energy is too valuable to be spent on proving yourself to those who are committed to misunderstanding you. When you rise above, you send a powerful message. Your opinion of me does not define me. My actions, my growth, and my character define me. Think about this. If you argue with someone who is determined to belittle you, no matter how good your points are, they won't listen. They don't want understanding. They want control. But when you refuse to engage in their pettiness, you disarm them. They realize they cannot drag you into the mud, and that unsettles them. Over time, your refusal to play small games forces them to see you differently. Rising above also means focusing on your growth rather than your critics. The people who look down on you want you stuck in the cycle of defending yourself. But when you pour your energy into bettering yourself, learning, achieving, building, you prove them wrong without saying a word. Imagine someone mocking you for not being capable, and a few months later, they see you excelling in ways they never thought possible. That's the power of rising above. You let success answer insults. It also requires emotional discipline. Rising above is not about pretending the disrespect doesn't sting. It's about not letting it control your response. You acknowledge the pain, but you refuse to let it dictate your behavior. You stay calm, you stay focused, and you continue moving forward. That calm strength commands more respect than any defensive argument ever could. One of the greatest traps people fall into is trying to win against those who disrespect them. But ask yourself this: what do you really win by proving them wrong in an argument? Maybe a momentary sense of satisfaction, but rarely long-term respect. On the other hand, when you choose to elevate yourself, to act with dignity, to focus on excellence, to keep moving forward, you don't just win the moment. You win the bigger game, the game of self-mastery. Rising above doesn't mean you never stand up for yourself. It means you choose when and how to do it in a way that honors your worth. Sometimes rising above means speaking firmly and clearly, then walking away. Sometimes it means silence. Sometimes it means showing through consistent results that you are not who they thought you were. But it never means sinking into their level of negativity. The truth is, people who look down on you often want you to react. They want to see you flustered, angry, or desperate to prove yourself. When you refuse to give them that satisfaction, you remain in control, and control, combined with dignity, always commands respect. So the next time someone underestimates you or tries to belittle you, don't waste your breath on endless explanations. Don't sink into the mud of proving yourself to small minds. Instead, rise above, keep building, keep growing, keep walking with dignity. Because when you rise above, you don't just protect your peace, you elevate yourself so high that those who once looked down on you have no choice but to look up.